All right, here we go. So, welcome to another episode of the Flatlander Fit Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Schultz, and today I've got Brian Ellithorpe with me. And I've known Brian. This is an interesting thing. In health, we talk about community. And I met Brian through the outdoor community, working at R&T's booth at Game Fair. Brian's one of their cameramen. And as we got talking, we realized we've got a lot more in common, especially when it comes to health and fitness. So we're going to talk a little bit about staying consistent, no excuses, and being a good example for your kids. So Brian, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it, or tonight actually. So
yeah, man, no problem. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to it.
Hey, this is going to be a good conversation. So, and again, this is we don't usually talk about this, so this is what's going to be fun. We usually talk hunting. We talk those kinds of things. So
yeah.
So I guess really the big thing, when we've talked about a little bit, is that how did you get interested in lifting? Like, what spurred you to say, like, you know what, I want to take care of myself. I want to get stronger.
So this goes back quite a ways. So I was in middle school. I was 13 years old, and my buddy that I had classes with, one of my good friends, his dad or his uncle was the football coach, the varsity football coach.
Okay, wow.
And it was my buddy Trevor. So Trevor would go work out with his uncle, and like after school, he would go over there, he'd work out with him, and then his dad would pick him up. So there was 4 of us. Trevor convinced me and two of my other buddies, like, hey, you should start coming over with me. So it was me, my buddy Cody, my buddy Trevor, and then my buddy Cam. Cam actually passed away, so RIP. But all of us, we would go and like train with the varsity football team at 13 years old. I remember the first time I was there, we did like a circuit, and I did lunges for the first time, like standing in place lunges, step back lunge.
Yep.
I left there. I woke up the next day and I literally thought my legs were like, I thought I tore both of my hamstrings because it was like I woke up and I was freaking out. I'd never been that sore in my life. My mom's like, you're sore, drink some pre-mixed chocolate milk. Like, Let's get this thing back on the road. I'm allergic to bananas, so I couldn't eat bananas.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Okay. So I did it, and I was like, I went to school that next day, and I told my buddies, I was like, I don't think I can ever do that again. Like, I have never been in this much pain in my life. My buddy Trevor's like, quit being a baby. He's like, that's what it's all about. Like, and Trevor was pretty jacked at the time. Like, he was a year, like technically like 8 months older than me. So like This time he's like 14 or whatever. But Trevor was like, have you watched Blue Mountain State?
Yeah.
Trevor is the spitting image of Thad Castle. Went to college to play linebacker.
Really?
Dude, it acts the same way. He's like one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. He went on to be a Navy SEAL. He just retired from the
no
SEALs.
kidding.
Yeah. And he does like an online training thing. I'll send it to you. But like, he's always just been jacked. And I was like, man, like I'm this little chubby, at the time, like I was like 5'4". I didn't hit a growth spurt. I'm like, man, this sucks, and I didn't really have any ambition to play football. I wanted to play golf. I've been playing golf since I was like 8. So I'm like, well, I really have no reason to like get strong. So fast forward like 3 years, I still was, I ended up like still going and working out the football team, varsity football team as a 13-year-old. That summer, I got my first gym membership at this raggedy little powerlifting gym, like right by my house. And like you would drive down this little highway by the house, and there was this jacked monkey on the side of the building flexing like Arnold. And I was like,
nice.
Dude, you go in there, and I mean, it's just like old school equipment, chalk everywhere. And I started talking to people there, and they were like, oh yeah, if you're gonna get, and these are all like 50-year-old, like your typical like older power lifter, old school.
Yep.
And like, dude, they're telling me like, yeah, you got to do this and you got to do that. So like, I start deadlifting, I start squatting, I was already like doing the bench press, because that's just kind of the staple. But like, I wanted to be like these guys. Like, dude, they were jacked, and like Trevor was jacked, you know, and like my buddy Cody ended up like he was jacked. He just like I was around all these people that were like, man, I just want to be like that. And so, you know, that was the first time that like I got into like protein powder was with those guys, and like and then I hit a growth spurt. I go from like 5'4" to 6 foot over a summer. I go from 130 pounds to 185 pounds, and like I'm like, this is cool. Like you can see it. Like this is the first time in my life that like you do something and you can see it in person. Like you can see the transformation. So then I'm just hooked. But I'm like, then I got like football team. I'm training with them. They're telling me I need to play football. So the next year, 7th grade, I play football. It was all right. But then I'm like, but the high school is a golf team. Like, yo, that's what I've been trying to do. So I did all right. I played D end and like did okay. But it wasn't like, I don't know. So fast forward in the high school. Now I'm playing golf, lifting with the football team. Football team still trying to get me. If you like, you don't have to come practice. You can come like play on Friday nights. And I'm like, no, dude, I want to play golf. Golf. My 2-a-days playing golf is playing 36 holes. I don't have to worry about going and get my ass beat all day.
Right.
In the
or with
summer,
an injury,
you know?
There goes your golf. If you get hurt.
That too, yeah. And it was just like, but I mean, I'm still training. You know what I mean? Like, and so then like, I'm catching all this flack because I'm stronger than most of the football team. You know, I'm benching like at the end of my high school career, I think like, so I started doing these, like, that's when I first started getting into like powerlifting, like programs.
Gotcha.
Like a strength training program. I did a percentage-based bench program. I can't remember what the name of it was, but my buddy Cody got it for me. He paid for it. And so he was like, hey, just try this program. It took my bench from like 260 to 305 in 10 weeks.
No kidding.
And I was like, what is this magic? You know, like,
right.
I'm 18 years old, benching 305. And then I did the same program for another 10 weeks and it went up to 320. So I'm 18, 320 bench. And then like, you know, you don't really care. You're in high school, you're just bro lifting, you know? So I ended up getting a couple scholarships for golf, decided not to pursue them to do, because they didn't have an engineering school at any of the places that I had a scholarship to go play golf. So I go to the University of Toledo. And as I'm there, I'm like, well, now I got all this time. I can just train. So I would just go, I'd lift, and like, dude, I was maybe at the rec center for like 4 months. And I kept seeing these dudes. Like, so if you walked into our rec center, the gym, the weight portion of it was shaped like an L. So like when you would walk down the stairs, there was all these machines and cardio equipment. And then you'd look past that, there was a glass window or like wall of windows. And inside of that was all the power racks. So like my buddy Tyler that I've sent you all those videos of, he's in there. It was his senior year of college. He's in there benching like 600 pounds, you know, like, and then next to him is people that like I end up being really good friends with. They're squatting 500, 600 pounds. Like, it's just like, I walk in, I'm like, what is this? Like, I thought I was strong, not a chance. So one of the guys that was in there, he's a little like scrawny 180-pound dude, but he squat like 450. I'd see him repping 450. I'm like, dude, what is going on? So I needed a spot one day. And so I was benching. He come over, and I think I was doing like, I don't know, a set of 300 for 3 or 305 for 3 or something. He's like, man, you're pretty strong. He's like, have you ever thought about powerlifting? And I'm like, not really. Like, I don't really know anything about it. He's like, I'll tell you what. He's like, his name is Dwayne, still a very good friend of mine. And he was like, come. He's like, I'll give you my number and we'll train. We'll train together on Friday or whatever it was. He's like, I'm gonna deadlift. So okay. So I wasn't very good at deadlifting.
But just so everybody knows, it's the most magical exercise out there.
I mean, truthfully, like it is it is the best compound lift.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's as far as like strain on your joints and stuff goes, as long as your form is good, like I would say it's probably the least invasive of the big three.
You know, we could go down that rabbit hole a little bit. We'll go back to the story. But I think the one thing the one thing that I would add to that is that there's a lot of different ways to do a deadlift.
Yes.
And I think it doesn't always have to be about max weight, but it is a great movement, like you said, and finding the one that fits you because it does address so many muscles. And we can talk about that later. But
yeah, I mean,
we're going back to training with Dwayne.
To it. Yeah. But so like I go in there with him, and I think I end up working up to like a 315 deadlift. Like me and my buddy, this is kind of what started what we'll talk about with my home gym, but like we had built a gym in his basement because we would also play basketball, but we had we didn't lift for basketball, but me and him were both like, this is like my sophomore year of high school. So like after I got rid of the gym membership, we wanted somewhere to train together. We took two old like bench combos that you would get from like Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah.
We made a gym in his basement. So his first time that I deadlifted was with him. Like we were looking up videos on YouTube, which was like the early stages of YouTube. There was really like no fitness content. So like our deadlifts are terrible. Like, I mean, I'm rounding the shit out of my back. I'm not even like using a belt. I'm using straps, like all the stuff that, is the worst thing you could possibly do for deadlift. So I go in there and I'm deadlifting with Dwayne, and he's like, no, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. I'm like, all right, now I'm hooked. Because I'm like, this is something different, like kind of similar to the bench program that I had done in high school. Now I'm doing like this program with him. So he's like, and I didn't really know anybody. Like I knew like my roommates and a couple people from high school. So not like I knew a ton of people at the or like at school anyway. So I'm like, all right, well, this is a new friend group and blah, blah, blah. So I start training with him, and he's like, I mean, I get up, in like the 450 range for deadlift within like 8 months. And then I'm still benching somewhere around like 315, 320, 325. But then he starts showing me like a slingshot. And I'm like, so now I'm overloading bench. I'm using knee wraps for squat, which I'd never even thought about in my life.
Right.
And so then my squat's up at like 450. I got, like everything's progressing quickly. And, and like, then I'm starting to like dial in my diet and like do all this other stuff. And he's like, I'm doing this competition in April or something around that time frame. And this is like in October. And he's like, he had just finished one. So I was like, he's showing me videos of that. And I'm like, this looks pretty cool. And so I end up doing a NASA meet with him. And NASA is like just a smaller time, like small. It's one of the older, like groups of powerlifting, like competitive powerlifting. But it's like pretty inclusive with everybody. Like,
gotcha. Okay.
So it's just like, it's a nice place to start. If you're starting powerlifting, like it's pretty easy. So I do it with him. First meet, like I did 220 pure, which is like lifetime drug free.
Yep.
And so I ended up getting first in that. And I think there was only like 3 other people I was competing against. So like nothing crazy. But like, I think I did like a 501 deadlift, like a 451 squat, like a 320 something deadlift or bench. So I'm like, it's pretty good. It was like a 1,300 pound total.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, well, then you see the number and it goes back to like high school. It was like, I can see this thing progressing. I see myself progressing, like transforming. Right. Now I'm at a point where like, I don't really care about what my body looks like. It's in a range of what I like it, like you only get so far without drugs, so like,
yep.
You know what I mean? So
it gets tough. Yeah. It gets really tough.
So then, but now I got a new thing to focus on. Now I got a number. So now I'm fighting numbers, and I'm like, dude, this is sick. Like, and to be honest with you, like all through college, like that's what I did. I would compete every October. Sometimes I'd compete every April. Sometimes I would compete in October, but I also lifeguarded. And so like, I didn't want to be this fat power lifter. I would do my competition in April. I would still cut because I would go in like, the off season. I'd go up to like 230, 235. I would cut after like January while I'm getting in like my meet prep, like my 16-week meet prep.
Yep.
I cut down to like 217-ish because I'm 220. So it gives me some leeway. Right. Then after that, I'd have like 3 more months. I cut down to like 210, be absolutely shredded, lifeguard all summer, get tan, chase girls. And then it's like, Now we're back to the bulk in September,
Right.
you know, like,
Right.
so it was that's what kind of kept me motivated, you know, like you were saying, like no excuses, like,
Right.
that's what I did. And then like to complement that, like I'm in college and I'm partying. So like, but
Yeah.
I was strict. Monday through Friday, we train. Friday night, Saturday night, we go hard partying.
Yep. Yep. That's college.
Then we
you
get
know?
back to it. You know, like Sunday, you get the scaries, and then like you go back Monday, and boom, you're right at
Yep.
it. Meal prepping Sunday when you're not throwing up, and like that whole deal.
Right.
So, like, so it's just like, but that kept me regimented. You know, like that kept me from doing dumb stuff on Wednesdays and Thursdays when the bars were having, you know,
Thursday and stuff like
yeah.
that.
So I never did that. I maybe like 4 times in college. Like I'm pretty sure I can count it on one hand how many times I went out during the week because I was strict enough with it.
That's
And
huge.
like, but that's what caught me, like like that's what keeps me motivated. Like
Right.
since I was 13, I've probably taken like, there might be 2 months that I haven't gone to, like a 2-month span where I hadn't gone to the gym.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like that's,
Yep.
and that might like it might not have even been 2 months. It might have been 6 weeks. I don't know. But it's like I feel weird if I don't, like I feel like if I don't do some sort of lifting, cardio, something 5 times a week, I feel like I'm failing.
So let me ask you this. This is what happens with me is that people will say, you must like going to the gym. And I go, actually, I hate it. And the reason why I say that is because I've got 100 other things on my mind. But what I learned is that I would rather get to the gym, kind of be a little grumpy for the first couple of sets, and then get into it and then knock the workout out, because the guilt of not going to the gym is worse than being grumpy for the first couple sets, because you finally shut off what else I'm thinking about, and now I'm here to work out to be stronger, whatever goals that I have at that point. For me, it's just to stay strong at this age, to keep doing stuff. The other thing I was going to mention is that in listening to you, what's interesting, and this is something I talked a little bit about in the last episode, was like starting to invest in yourself. You learned that at 13. That's carried you into college. And now we're going to talk about how that investment in yourself is now carrying you into where you're at now at this age, and then passing that on to the kids and stuff like that, you know, really that investment in yourself, which is such a huge thing.
Well, and to think of, I mean, like, so I'm 33. This has been 20 years. This is probably like, it was the winter of when I turned 13, or when I was 13. So like, we're literally talking about almost exactly 20 years later.
Right.
And like to say like, I can maybe think of a two month span that I didn't go to the gym. Like that's pretty crazy to think about. Like, and you know, sometimes it might not be like, I mean, dude, I've gone months where it's like I'm not following a program. You know, like I go in, kind of just go through the motions, but it's like at some point you're gonna hit a plateau. I've hit plenty of plateaus. I'm hitting one right now. But it's like it just, the discipline of going, I think, is what really drives a lot of the stuff that I do. Like I'm a very disciplined person. I need that discipline, or I'm not going to go, like, I'm not going to do anything. You know what I mean? Like you were saying,
the results. You've seen the results.
Well, I mean, like once you start, I'm always like a proponent of like, once you start something, finish it. Obviously with fitness, it's like, we're not going to finish this shit till we die. You know, right. This is kind of one of those like lifetime deals where it's like, unless you have like some crazy injury, but like how many people have you seen that lost limbs and they still go to the gym? Like that's the no excuses. Like I see that stuff and it's like, if somebody else can do it, why can't I
agree. Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. And you know, unless I'm so sick that I don't go, like I have to get some sort of workout. Same thing as you. Otherwise, like I said, the guilt will bother me, but I always feel better after it. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like you leave and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go back to the 10 other things I had on my mind. Yeah. But again, you accomplish something right there and you're like, I actually feel good.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, like, dude, there's been times where I have a killer headache. And my brain goes, what helps with headaches? Opening the blood vessels. The constriction of the blood vessels is what gives me a headache. What opens my blood vessels? Working out, a pump.
Deadlifts.
See if that works. So like there's times where like I will go, yeah, deadlifts, doing something heavy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But like, man, if you just get a little bit of vasodilation, and it's like it helps. And then like
Absolutely.
as soon as I'm done, and as soon as my blood vessels contract back up, I got a headache. But it's like,
Really?
for 45 minutes, I got rid of something for a little bit. It's like,
well,
it helps.
I think that's some of the stuff that we'll talk to patients. But what I was talking about before, I've called it like rehab, and I guess they thought that was kind of neat. But essentially, that stuff that you do now is going to prevent worse things down the road, and that allowed you to have tools to like, okay, I've got headaches. If I go to the gym and work out, if you're sick, I mean, not like flu, can't get out of bed sick, but sometimes going in, just even if you have just a little cold, not that you're trying to get people sick, but working to get that sweat up, that changes how you feel. It makes you feel better for a while, like you were just saying with your headaches. And that can speed recovery up. I mean, that gets things moving, gets blood flowing, and it's good for us mentally too.
Yeah, but and this might be a little prelude into your next topic, but like I have the home gym. So even if I'm sick,
perfect.
Like, it doesn't matter. I can go down there and do whatever I want. Like, especially during COVID, like that's when I really started building it. Was like I had some equipment, and it's like I can't go to the gym. And I mean, like, for what it's worth, I mean, our powerlifting gym didn't close. There was only 10 people there, so it didn't matter.
Right.
They still went. But for me, like Bree was pregnant, so I was like, well, I'm not going to go expose her to that. So I just started doing stuff at the house, and it's like, then it just turned into this massive whatever came on Facebook Marketplace. I just bought it.
So basically that started because of COVID, where you're like, I'm going to start building this up. And then now, like, let's say, what do you have in this gym now that's kind of taken on a life of its own? Since we've known each other and talked, and you're like, I got this, I got that. And I'm like, you are the master at finding some hellaciously good deals. I will say that.
Oh, it's crazy. But that's the discipline in me, is like, I can wait. I can hold out. And
Which is good.
I swear to you, like I'll get something in my brain, and I'm like, man, I really want to buy this. Like, for example, like when I bought my cable crossover, I was like, oh man, they've got these at I think there's some place, Dick's Sporting Goods or somewhere, they had one for like $800, and I was like, oh, that's not bad. I was like, but let me hold out, and then I found one for $100. It's like, just waited 3 more months, and it popped up on Facebook Marketplace. I texted the guy, and I'm like, I'll be there tomorrow. And it's like, so that's kind of like, so it really started when I bought my first house. So when I graduated college, I bought this house, and it has a basement. Like, the basement was pretty dilapidated, where it's just like there's just nothing down there. Like, it's just it was a 120-year-old farmhouse, and like it had this basement, and it was like it leaked, the whole nine. And I was like, yeah, well, my grandparents were getting rid of a Bowflex, like a Marcy version of the Bowflex, and I was like, I'll come grab that. Like, I can at least do stuff with it on the weekends, like if I'm just screwing around. So I got that, and then like it was like the exact same time, maybe 2 weeks later, her dad texted me and was like, hey, I know you just got that Bowflex thing. Like, do you want some dumbbells? Like Austin, Bree's brother, Austin had these dumbbell, or like this like one of those older like 1-inch bars with the 1-inch weights. Dude, he had like 120 pounds of weights. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll come grab that. So I had this bar, I had some weights, like, and then me and Bree, she was working at Meyer at the time and was getting like all these like coupons for stuff. So we just started buying dumbbells. We would get dumbbells for like $2.
Oh my God.
So we got like 5, 10, 20, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 dumbbells. And I think we paid like $40 for the whole thing.
Oh my.
So we had dumbbells, a curl bar, and a Bowflex. And I was like, good. So like on the weekends, like I would go for a run, and I'd come home and I'd do a little circuit, and like, outside of me, that was when I was really training at the Animal House, our powerlifting gym. Like, that's when I was like, I was pulling 600, I was squatting 560, like I was benching 380. Like, I had really good numbers at 220, you know, and like drug free, the whole thing. So like, and I'd say that just because like even if I wanted to do steroids, I couldn't because I have a blood condition. So like I would get blood clots. So I can't do it anyway. But like,
well, you know, I was, what's interesting about that is I'd worked at a, like kind of like a basement hardcore dungeon gym when I was going to school. And there was like 2 or 3 lifters that were drug free and they were bodybuilders. And so what it takes to be drug free to step on stage and actually compete. That's why I think it's an important thing. I mean, it's a lot of discipline, and obviously the same thing with powerlifting or whatever. And it's not a knock if people use that because people have learned to do that. That's just part of that.
Yeah.
Some of the bodybuilding and stuff like that. But it is important that you can do things without that and have amazing results. It's just like, and like you've been proving right there, 600 deadlift. Come on. Five
well, and
squats.
like I have gravity working against me because I'm 6'2". So like, I'm not,
absolutely.
You know, most good power lifters are like 5'8", you know, like they got stubby legs, stubby arms, and that's kind of how it works. So like I knew I was never going to be a professional power lifter, but it was like just one of those things that I really enjoyed. So I had that equipment. And then the first real iteration of like the home gym was actually at my first job out of college. Our company gave me and 2 of my coworkers some warehouse space to put a gym because we were going to a gym during our lunch break. And we were like, well, if we don't have to pay $40 a month, we can buy some equipment. So like I bought a few things. My coworker bought a treadmill and a power rack and some other stuff. And like,
wow.
So we put this stuff in our building, like in our warehouse. And like, I would just go out at lunch, like we had 45 minutes and I'd go work out in there. Well, I ended up leaving that job. My coworker stopped working out with me because it was too convenient to go out there. So he just sat in his office instead. And he had no room for the equipment that he bought. So he was like, if you want it, you can just have it. Like, I don't want it. All right, cool. So I took the treadmill and it was like the weights.
Did you take the power rack?
A set of power blocks.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
And the power rack and a bench. So I'm like, dude, I got a ton of stuff now.
Yeah.
So then I just started like picking stuff away at Facebook Marketplace, and I left there 2 months before COVID. So I had like 3 months to actually like buy some decent stuff. So then my aunt had a pair of power blocks. She didn't want them. And then like there's just a couple of people who were like, I don't want this, I don't want that. So I started taking it. And I was working out more at home. So like I bought foam tiles for the basement so that I could work out my socks down there. Yep. And I just set up this gym. Like, dude, I had a lot of stuff down there. Like I had 2 sets of power.
I've seen videos of it.
Yeah, but I mean like the first iteration, I call it the first iteration, but it was like really before I moved. And so then I was doing a wedding for one of my buddies that I actually used to powerlift with. And he was like, hey, I bought this leg press and I bought a different one. I don't want this one. Do you want it as a tip for our wedding for filming it? And I was like, yeah. Did I buy it? And it's like, I can't remember what the brand is. It's a Stray Dog.
Okay. So yeah.
Stray Dog powerlifting. Dude, it's like a $2,500 leg press.
Yeah.
Sick. So I'm like, all right, cool. So then like I buy that, and that was really the last big piece of equipment that I had at the old house. It was an absolute pain to get into my new place. So the new basement is actually it's actually sealed. It's 4 times the size of my old basement. So like the gym that you see, like when I send you videos and stuff, that's what I'm calling like round 2 of this. Okay. So now I've got a Marcy, like I can't remember like what what it's called, but it's essentially like a 3-station deal where it's got like it's got a dip station, it's got like it looks like a hammer strength, like plate loaded. It's plate loaded stuff.
Okay.
So the adjustable bench goes from shoulder press, incline, flat bench, and it's all like I would consider it's plate loaded, but it's like the nice stuff. And then it's got like a lat pull down, you can spin around, it's got a preacher curl. So
Nice.
I've got that. I've got the power rack. I still have the Bowflex. I never really use it though. I've got a belt squat attachment for the power rack, which is unbelievable.
That
I've
is
got
an amazing
it
move.
was $40 on Amazon. If you have a power
Really?
rack and you're listening to this, go on Amazon, type in the belt squat attachment for a power rack. They have every version that you could possibly want. It is unbelievable. You can fit 7 plates on there.
No kidding. Oh no shit.
Yeah, I put 7 plates on there. I set Wes on top of it, and I do sets of 12. Like it's sick. Then I have a cable crossover. I still have the 1-inch plates for the curl bar, but the cable crossover also takes 1-inch plates. So I have 300 pounds and 1-inch plates for the cable crossover and the leg extension.
Wow.
I have the leg press down there. I bought a leg extension leg curl machine that's plate loaded. I have a Smith machine, and then I have the power blocks that go up to 90. I have a back extension, like a 90 or a flat one. It's a not. I think they call it a 90 degree instead of the 45 degree.
Yep.
And I've just got random stuff. I mean, I've got all sorts of ropes and bands and pretty much whatever. I quite literally can do everything that I want down there. It is like, and I've got a Bowflex elliptical, I've got a treadmill, I've got a stationary bike. I don't know, man. It's just like it turned into something that is so convenient to have, but I promise you, I don't have more than $1,500 in the whole thing.
That's incredible. That what you
It's
listed
insane.
off right there. That's insane.
That's a $30,000 gym if you were to buy all that stuff brand new.
Right.
So
well, I mean, even the power blocks alone. So you got 2 sets of power
blocks
blocks.
are $1,000 if you go to 90.
That's what I mean. Alone, just for those.
Yeah, it's crazy. So like it has been a blessing, but like I said, I started that, so I would have gotten that Bowflex thing in 2016, and like didn't really put any work, like didn't buy much of it until probably right at 2020.
Gotcha.
So it's been 4.5 years.
So that's grown a lot in 4.5 years.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's changed location because I bought my new house, which is only a mile and a half down the road. But like, just having the space, like I can go down there. The really, like when I bought the house, I built a like a little play area for Wes, so he could play down there and like he was kind of like encased down there.
Yeah.
So I would just take him down there. I'd take him down there and I'd put him in the thing, and he would play down there while I was working out, and then he would started climbing out of it, and by that time Emma was there, and so like I'd put her in it, Wes would climb out of it, he would do his own thing, and now like we've got it set up there to where they have an entire side of the basement that they can play in. Like there's a bounce house down there that it was real cheap one from Costco. But all their toys are down, a lot of their toys are down there, and like I can just go down, close the door, they play down there, I work out for an hour, and everybody's happy. So like there literally is no excuse why I shouldn't be working out.
And I think that's one of the biggest things, because as we get busier in life, or you see people getting busier, and then kids come along, and just a little ingenuity allowed you to, and I mean, people don't have to have as extravagant of a gym that you have at home, but having the kids there, again, they're happy playing, you're happy working out. The other thing too is just that, I mean, I've seen videos of like the kids wanting to be and like wanting to like kind of copy you as far as doing the workouts. And I'm like, what a great example at a young age. And Wes has a pretty good deadlift form for his age pretty soon. I mean, I've seen him pick up some geese, and I'm like, he sets himself up pretty good without any coaching from you.
Well, Emma's got a really good incline bench. You seen that video. Good Lord. I look up and she's got, I mean, dude, just perfect 90 degree. Bam. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, I remember that video. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, and that's the other thing too, is like once I started like working out down there with them a lot, and then they would come over and try and do the exact same thing as me. Like Wes will sit on the preacher curl and just preacher curl it without any weight on it, and then he'll be like, it's too late. I want to put it on there. So he'll put like 2 5-pound plates on there and start going. And it's like, I would like you said, I would rather them like see that and want to be involved in it than if like, I mean, there's not really a whole lot that you could really do terribly with kids at that age. Like as long as they're involved in something, but it's like, I'd rather them be like, oh, I want to come down and like work out with that as opposed to play video games or sit there and watch TV the whole time. Like when they come down, they'll ride their bikes, they'll jump on the bounce house, they'll come crawl around on whatever I'm doing. As long as they don't hurt themselves, I don't really care. But at the same time, like they're pretty resilient to getting hurt, so it doesn't really matter.
But again, like if they're on the bouncy house, if they're riding their bike, it's all active, like you said, not on electronics. They have to use imagination. They burn off energy. They're staying healthy. They're seeing you stay healthy, work out, and things like that. I mean, that's a huge thing, and that seems to be a hot topic. A lot is just kids not as active as they used to be, and so like this is a great example of like we're doing this all together as a family, and that's
Bree comes down, works out with me, and so it's like, you know, when she comes down, me and her are working out down there. Usually,
like ask if Bree works out with you.
Yeah, when she's down there, it's like it's actually a little easier because then the kids aren't running upstairs and downstairs and like trying to do whatever she's doing. So it is nice when she comes down, but she doesn't come down every day, you know. And actually what we started doing recently is we got a Y membership. And so the YMCA has like a daycare thing. So like you can, so what I've started doing is kind of split my time, and it's really not because I don't like working out at home. Really what it is because Bree stays home with the kids, it gives them a chance to socialize with other kids. And I mean, like, don't get me wrong, it's nice to just like go to the gym and like not have to worry about what they're doing. But I realize when I'm there how much I like my home gym, because there'll be people like the other day, there's a dude just like slamming the weights down on a machine bench press. It's like, yo, it has a foot catch. Like, it kind of reminded me of like the stuff that I don't like about commercial gyms, but at the same time, it's like, it is nice. There's a lot of benefit for me and for the kids to go there, just because then they get to play and, you know, play with other kids and stuff. And it's just different. Like I choose the home gym 10 times out of 10, like no doubt.
I can understand that, but you know, even too at the Y, I mean, then you've got like the basketball courts. I mean, you should have like some of those options, and obviously with the kids, you can do those types of things. And like you said, get out of the house, socialize a little bit more. I mean, they got a pool. I mean, there's a ton of different things that you can do at the Y. So it's another great place to just go work out with the family and hang out. And it's all
Bree goes there with me too.
Health oriented,
you know, or the elliptical or whatever. And like, that's the other thing too, is like the Y has stuff for like kids leagues. So like Wes is going to be in soccer. Emma's going to do gymnastics, and like and they've got a pool there. Like we've got the pond, they've got a pool there. They've got an outdoor pool. There's like just stuff to like keep them occupied, because that's the biggest thing with kids is like they got short attention spans. But what I found out too is that they're more prone when they get bored to just go watch TV. So if you can keep them, you know, especially in the winter, it's tough because it's cold and you can't really take them outside all the time. In the winter, it's easy. You just take them outside and then they don't watch TV at all. But like, if you can take them to the Y, you can take them in, like I can take them into the basement. Like there's things that I've done to like kind of set it up so that I set myself and them up for success. But it's because like I don't want, like I had a childhood where I spent all my time outside. We had 100 acres of woods behind the house. There was 13 kids that all lived within like 5 houses of us. Like it was very easy to just be outside and just do whatever the hell we wanted. But those were also the same people that like influenced me to play golf and other sports. And like, I mean, I played paintball for a really long time, and like I played in competitions and stuff. Like I've always been very competitive, and I love the outdoors. So it's like everything kind of snowballs into like that as well as fitness, and like a couple of my buddies that I grew up with, like we were into fitness stuff or, weightlifting. And so it's like, I think it all stems from when you're younger and like where you build that from. And I'm
Yeah,
trying
I
to
would agree with that.
plant that seed for them to where like they see me working out, they see us going doing sports, and the hunting and the fishing and all that stuff. And Wes is hooked already on the hunting and fishing stuff. So
I
like
know,
awesome.
which is so good to
But
see.
yeah, but then it's like but also there's just a lot going on all the time. So like it's it could be very easy for me to just be like to write off my health and fitness
Right.
completely. I have a ton of other stuff that I could be occupied with, but like on topic for this podcast, like that's why I try and keep my like I have the home gym, I have the gym membership, I do all that stuff so that I keep it's very important to me and I don't want to lose sight of that.
Nope. I think I would agree with that. And what I see as like with patients and stuff like that is when people maybe don't take care of themselves, things kind of snowball that way. By taking care of yourself, now you're not playing catch up to get back to baseline. You're staying kind of ahead of it. And when you think about how active your kids are, how active you're hoping that they continue to be, like you need to be in shape to keep up with them. I mean, if they're playing sports and you're gonna, if you're gonna practice with them, like you actually have to be able to move around. You know what I mean? Like you need to be
Yeah.
able to do that. If you guys are gonna hike, hunt, bike ride, you need to be able to do all those things as a family. And Bree works out, you work out, the kids have fun. I mean, I think that's just a great scenario of just like, trying to live your healthiest lives and pass that along to the kids and all. I mean, it ends up being just better being active and I guess being in shape to enjoy whatever you choose to do,
Right. Well, and I
outside of
also
that.
like I have a herniated disc in my lower back, so like I need to be. That's why I don't train as heavy anymore. And then like,
Right.
I mean, just with kids in general and like being busy, like I mean, I think a big thing that people really underestimate is like coming out of college where like you have all the time in the world to work out and meal prep and all that stuff.
Right.
A full-time job is a full-time job. Like it
Absolutely.
it takes a
But what
lot of
happens
your
if you have
time.
too many hobbies on top of that full-time job?
You now have zero time. Now you have to try to find time to work out. But like I have everything pretty well like managed. So like really the like full-time job, then I work out, and then like kids go to bed. Then I get like my side business work done.
Yep.
So like I can edit, do all the stuff that I need to. Um Also managing like my PTO. Like when I want to go film with
Right.
Sean, I use PTO. To be able to do that, like that kind of stuff with Sean, like that's not driven by money. Like it's not, you
Right.
know how it is. Like that's
Yep.
not a huge paycheck. People might think it is. It's not. It
No, but
maybe
I
pays
will
for like
guarantee the
one thing.
experience that you
That's
have, those
but that's the
stories, that's what it is right there.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the connections, it's all that kind of stuff. So like that part of it's cool. And then like the hunting and fishing stuff, like I just do that on the weekend. So it's like time management, especially like I've told you, like I don't party anymore. Like
Yeah.
that kind of helps with, time management, not feeling like
Absolutely.
it's the all sacrifices. You make sacrifices. So like, yeah, I sacrifice having a social life, but I did that when I had kids, like it's just I don't know. Your priorities change, that kind of thing, but like kind of the one thing that I've always tried to prioritize no matter what has been time for me to work out. Like Bree knows when I get done working out or get done working, I'm going to work out. Like
Right.
and I try to do like incorporate the kids into that. So like, there's balance. There has to be balance for these kinds of things to work, like
Absolutely.
if something's important to you, you make time for it.
Oh, absolutely. I was just going to go back to, like you said, prioritizing working out too is, yeah, you've got stuff going on in your back. Very common, but you have a choice. You either do less or you stay strong. And a great example at staying strong is you're able to go hunting. You're able to go
Mhm.
fishing. You're able to go filming. You're able to spend time and do stuff with the kids, do stuff with Bree, and that's all
Right.
about being strong. And that's
Yeah.
making that choice. And I mean, like that's just something that it's really important that we kind of keep that in mind and think about, because if you don't, it becomes a snowball effect. It has an opportunity to snowball, and it's just easier to stay as strong so that we stay ahead of it, for as long as possible. That's how I
And
look
you don't
at
have
it.
to be peak strength either.
No,
Like I mean, like
no.
I did that, and like honestly, like the back deal wasn't even like me trying to be peak strong, it was me being dumb. I was like 3 weeks out from a competition, and I was doing rack pulls like to try and
Yep.
like to work on my lockout.
Yeah.
Everything was feeling great, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll go up to 700. I went to 700. I did three sets of four, or 4 sets of 3 at
Okay.
700.
Oh,
Rep
shit.
12.
Shit.
I locked it out, pop, and I went, oh no. And ever since then, I've had issues. So it's like the sacrifice for that was like, yeah, I don't go heavy as much anymore. I can still pull a 450 deadlift like at any time. But I think
Right.
that comes from like a baseline of like I'm not peak strength all the time, but
Yeah.
over 20 years, I've built this base where it's like I'm also bigger than I was when I was 13,
Right.
like 250. Like, yeah, I'd rather be 230, but like that's part of having kids too. Like sometimes, sleep deprivation and all that shit, like it's real. So
Yep.
if to fight through that, I could be 300. I'm not, but
Right.
like weight moves weight. So like I've always been a bigger dude, like 6'2". I flirt anywhere from really 230 to 250. And like I've built a base where like at any time I can bench 300. At any time I can squat 400. At any time I can pull 450. It's just been like that. Like
That's
I
pretty solid.
ever
That's
since
huge.
I was in college, like I mean I've sent you videos where like I'll
Yeah.
pull 450, and like
Yeah.
that's after like months, if not a year, of not even touching anything over 400. So it's like that also comes down to just the mechanics of it. If you have good
Absolutely.
form and
Yep.
you know how to move the weight, you can do it
Huge.
safely and you can do it effectively. Like
Absolutely.
but that takes years of learning mechanics and working with people that are much stronger than you and learning, learning. Like
Absolutely.
I'm
And
an
it says,
engineer. I don't know shit about the body, and it's like, but I know the stuff that pertains to like powerlifting and bodybuilding. Like I was talking about the vasodilation, like that's just something like
right.
you pick up, like that sort of stuff. Like whether it's right or not, I mean, it's probably the wrong term, but it's like essentially
It gets blood moving and it's going to
yes,
start pumping when it comes to
right,
that. It's as simple as that.
right.
What's interesting, so when you said like working out with these people, it's important to have those people around, because what we don't realize is you need that extra set of eyes. You think you
Oh yeah,
might be in good form or be solid, but that extra set of eyes is like, nope. And they're going to help you. You need to get here a little bit more, and sometimes just hands on and kind of help maybe get down a little bit, whatever the move might be.
yeah.
That extra set of eyes, because you can't watch yourself work out,
Well, and
and then you
like
start putting that correlation together.
yeah, and I mean like it's different going from like a commercial gym or a home gym to a powerlifting gym. I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
there's people that have never been to a powerlifting gym. You don't know bad form until you go lift in front of 7 guys watching you that all deadlift. They probably all bench more than your heaviest lift.
Right.
And it's like
Right.
the first
But
time I
that's
walked in there, I was like, oh yeah, I can pull 550. And I pulled like 500. They were like, or like 450 maybe. And they're like, stop it right there. And I was like, what did I do? They're like, pretty much everything wrong. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So then it's like, it's like, but those are the kinds of people you need to be around. You need to check your ego
absolutely.
at the door and listen to people. Like, I'm sure, like, if I didn't listen to them, number one, I probably wouldn't have competed as long as I did. Number two, like, I probably wouldn't be able to walk right now. I've been doing, and like, even the people that I lifted with in college, like, from the time that I first went and pulled with Dwayne, until like the first time I went and pulled at the animal house. It's like, I wouldn't have lasted a second, the guy that came out of high school and went straight into the animal house. But it's like the guys I'm training with at school for these powerlifting competitions, like we're all figuring it out, you know, like we're all younger than like the people that I then go and lift with at the animal house. And it's like, you know, Tyler's in there. He's the world record holder at single ply super heavyweight. Like
that's huge.
1,141 pound squat. Those guys don't exist everywhere. Like
no.
When you start realizing like the kind of caliber of people that you're around, like shut your mouth and listen, you know,
Absolutely.
like those guys can teach you everything that you need to know. So it's like, that was super helpful for me. Like that's what helps you build a base where it's like, then you're not getting hurt. Like these guys, yeah, they get hurt every once in a while, but like they should be getting hurt a lot more with the kind of weight that they're moving. Tyler squats 1,000 pounds every week. That doesn't even sound like, that doesn't even make sense.
It sounds inhuman at that point, you know?
Yeah. And then you talk to the guy and it's like, he's a nice person. I think I know. And like, he would rather, he gets more excited to see you pull a PR or you bench a PR, squat a PR. And then you're like, what are you doing today? He's like, I'm probably going to hit like 1075 with straps up. And you're like, what? Like, why are you not excited about that? And it's just like, he doesn't get excited about his own stuff, you know, like for him, it's kind of like, to put it in the perspective for like a hunting aspect. It's like Sean going out and seeing somebody, like when we had that girl with us, like him seeing that girl get her first band. He was way more excited about that than the 40 geese that we just shot. You know what I mean? Like you get these people that are weathered and like, you know, they want to see other people succeed and they want to pass their knowledge off and like they want to help you. So it's like, if you really want to progress and you want to stay healthy and you want to, you know, do this for the long run, you need to be willing to learn.
Absolutely got to keep an open mind. And, you know, I don't think if you can keep that open mind, you never stop learning and you will find new techniques. And I mean, there are people that have studied and practiced and worked at it for a long time. And when they share a little bit of that knowledge, feel fortunate that they shared that with you, because you have no idea the amount of time they've invested to get to that point, and they're freely giving you some information to work on. And kind of like you said, but then that base, like from that information you got, even though you're not squatting heavy or pulling heavy, you were able to like, yeah, I feel comfortable doing it because that technique has been ingrained and you've worked with those people. Like you said, that's your foundation. So you don't worry about it.
I mean, like I guess what I was really getting at is it's just like, you know, you build yourself up to be strong and then you end up with this, like, you're strong without needing to put in a lot of work for it. Like I don't have to go pull 500.
Maintaining is a lot better than building at that point.
Yeah. Like I've built it to a point where it's not like I'm like, if somebody like does a bodybuilding show, like they put in all this effort to get down to 6-7% body fat. They're going to lose that in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like they're going to go right back to 12%. And like, that's what they're going to live at for a while. And it's like, you don't always have to be at 6%. Like there's no problem being 12-15%. It's kind of like with strength. It's like, you don't always have to be at peak strength. You don't have to be at peak competition strength all the time. You're not going to be.
Right.
So you maintain like a 80% strength all the time, and it correlates to everything else in your life. Like I can carry a motor out of my truck and not have to worry about it. Like it's just
right.
Stuff like that. Like, and then like if you're like when you're hunting or like I can go run and I don't feel like super out of breath. You know what I mean? Like just stuff like that. It's like it's health and fitness as a whole. Like you kind of build a base for it and then you just maintain it, and you don't have to be like you have to be 100% all the time.
I agree. Nope, I agree. It's interesting that you said that. Like deer hunting, I've got access to 4-wheelers and I'm like,
don't need it.
I'll drag it. I'm fine, you know, or whatever I'm going to do. And you just don't worry about it because that's kind of what I'm training to stay strong for, are instances like that, or take any household object or project at that point. I want to be able to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, like
so
you want to carry it over in like that 45 minutes to an hour of your life every day. You want that to carry over to the rest of your day. So like you're working at it for, you know, you're putting in the work for 45 minutes, an hour, whatever you can do, but it's to carry over for like into the remainder of your life.
Absolutely. It's a compound interest, man, right there.
You're investing in yourself.
Absolutely. 100%. That's exactly what it is. So, all right, man. That might be a good place for us to stop right there. Investing in ourselves. Love it. All right. Thanks for being on. I appreciate it so much. And for everyone listening, if you like this, please like and subscribe below. Leave any comments. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. Take care.